Today, joining us on our Sales Empowering podcast is Michael Wilbow, a people and performance architect with a strategic, creative, and passionate advertising mind. Michael Wilbow is a veteran business leader with 2 decades spent in media, an advertising specialist, strategist, and thought leader with multi-channel management experience, and a career spent leading teams, connecting audiences with creative and innovative solutions to achieve strong commercial outcomes. His market experience spans around SMB to mid-tier and large corporates, along with local, state, and federal government in both Australia and New Zealand. Michael has 3 core beliefs: whether you think it or you can, you can't. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. Great players don't win championships, but great teams do. Extreme ownership as a leader, and I've seen that firsthand. Michael is also a founder and co-host of the podcast show, Heart of a Leader. Welcome, Michael, and thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you, Raina, for having me. Great to be here.
I'm sure has been your biggest challenges so far in your career. If you want to share, maybe, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Plenty, but
look, there's been many sort of isolated challenges over the years now, whether they're sort of product based or whichever. But fundamentally, the most challenging ongoing challenge is people leadership. When you're running a sales division or you're running a business, it is just bricks and mortars with a logo on the front door when you don't consider the people element. So how well an organization does comes down to, in my view, the leadership and how well the leadership actually has a strategy and a plan to take the business forward, but how well they can actually engage and motivate and take the people on the journey. And that's been a learning over the past 20 years to be able to do that effectively and what I believe is at a high level. But you're never going to perfect it. You're going to deal with different personalities, different people in different situations that you still, after doing it for this long, have not encountered yet in that sort of construct. So it's still the ability to relate and connect, read, understand, interpret people is the sort of the big I guess challenge that leaders have, and where I've found sort of most challenges, and that's probably been tested probably in the past sort of like 3 or so years ago when working at News Corp and doing some really massive business transformations that not only had a lot of the strategy and planning of totally reconstructing the way the business operated, but having a lot of people elements in terms of going through planning of who's in, who's out, doing the transition, doing all those consultancy things. So a lot of that sort of that nasty people element that you have to deal with letting people go and sort of formulating redundancies on a large scale, multiple times. They're things that are quite challenging, particularly when you care a lot about.
Yeah. For all our job seekers out there, what do you look for? I mean, you've hired and recruited salespeople and sales professionals, sales leaders. You're now running an entire business unit. What do you look for in an ideal candidate when hiring in the sales function?
Yeah, energy, commitment, enthusiasm. They're the first ones off the bat that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a drive. I'm looking for a discipline. I'm looking for the soft skills that are evident through the interview process that aren't necessarily question, answer. I'm looking for that exact answer. I'm looking for the way they're interacting, but it's really that it's the parts that I haven't figured out as a leader how to teach yet. I can't teach enthusiasm. I can't teach energy. They're the things that I need candidates to bring to the table that would really make them stand out. Like, do they show a desire to be a part of it? Do they show an understanding of what we are and who we are? The skill set part, yes, it's great if you can get an experienced salesperson or experienced any role that you're bringing on board, but all of the skill set components can be taught if you've got the right characteristics that you're working for and the right personality, the right habits. So I'm looking for complementary pieces of a puzzle when we go into recruitment. I'm looking for who I've currently got on the team and what do they bring? Where are we deficient? as a team? What qualities do I need? Like, I might have people that are super passionate about selling, but not great on the details. So I might want somebody at that point in time to complement the team with a really detail-orientated mindset.
Data. I get it.
Yeah, so I'm always looking for that balance within the team dynamic, and that's what makes a team work. If you have a whole bunch of like-minded people that are exactly the same, you're only going to be successful within what they're going to be good at. Rather, if you have a well-rounded complement, it gives the ability to actually have a transference of skills and learn off one another. So I'm looking for all of those soft skills, primarily how they engage, because particularly if we're talking sales roles, that if you can't sell yourself, which should be the most important product to you, how are you going to sell a product and a service that you have a limited attachment to at that point in time? Like, you might end loving that product or service, but when you're starting an interview process, you don't have that same sort of attachment. So how well can you articulate your story, what you bring to the table, what you believe in, what's the value you're going to bring my organization? And I have the imaginary cliche button that I press at times. It's like, don't tell me what I want to hear or what you think I want to hear. Dig deeper, go inside and give me something personal. Make that connection with me as a human being, because ultimately that's what sales is.
Do you relate personal goals and key achievements of sales professionals, and do you ask them those questions in your interviews?
Yeah, at times. It again depends on what sort of a barometer I'm getting for the feel of the individual. Am I seeing a genuineness? Am I seeing sort of, I've Googled the whole bunch of interview questions and I've learnt those answers? And that's what I meant at the top by saying I'm not necessarily interested in the question answer exchange. I'm looking for the gap in between the answer and the question. I'm looking for how they're processing it, how they can hold a discussion, a dialogue. Is it conversational? Is it forced? Are they warm? Are they relatable? Are people going to be attracted to them? If they're coming in, particularly within the businesses that I've worked in within media, you're coming in as a consultant, as an expert to guide. And if you're working with SMBs, one poor lot of guidance could actually send them out of business.
Agreed.
So I'm looking for that level of professionalism, that level of care, I guess, about the client and about their customer. And would they treat it as if it was their business? And they're the elements that I'm looking for with it. So yeah, of course, there'd be parts of that I would dig into, sort of their personal experiences in terms of achievements that I can sort of get a barometer of that.
Yeah.
But it sounds a little bit weird, but it's sort of like the movie The Castle, where it's just, I'm looking for the vibe. I'm looking for
the X factor.
Is there a feeling? Is there relatability? Is there connection? Can we work together? Would my team like you? Would you like the team? And that's not a definitive. Yeah. But is it more about what value you're going to bring the team? Like, you might come in and I know that's going to be sort of a very disruptive environment, but the team needs that. So there's a whole bunch of different dynamics, but it's the soft skills. It's the things that I can't teach that they need to possess about human quality that I'm looking for.
Any final words, tips, or, that you've got to share with our sales network? We've got a lot of upcoming sales leaders stepping into team leading roles. We've got sales professionals starting their new careers in a new sales role that we at Smart Talent Group have probably helped them. So, any tips that you'd like to share?
The biggest one that I'd probably give anybody that's going to watch this is, what is your purpose? If you can't articulate what your purpose is, then I believe everything following that is really unstable. So if you sort of start with purpose, then move into plan, and it doesn't matter whether you're a sales rep or you're an entry-level leader or you're a senior leader, it's just, what is your purpose? And if you're very strong and articulate on what your purpose is, then you will find that you'll be able to craft out your channel in a more clear, succinct way to be able to get from point A to point B, whatever that destination is for you at that point in time. A lot of people that I find, particularly in sales, use instinct a lot. It's like, I've always done it. I'm good at it. I don't know why I'm good at it. I just keep doing, give me any product, any service, I'd be able to sell it. And that's fine, but finding out why it resonates with you, what makes you tick, starts to take you above the role, above the product or the service. And if you're in sales leadership, again, how you're being given the keys to a business unit, or some form of team that you're now the custodian of.
Yeah.
If you don't have that purpose that's really, really clear about who you are, what you bring, how you're going to bring it to the organization, then you won't be able to disseminate it to the people. You won't be able to disseminate it to the clients. You won't be as effective as if you have a true, strong sense of self and then know how that applies the value that you bring. And then that really flows through into your planning. So purpose and plan. So if you could just do a plan, if you not sort of know where the vision and your purpose is, they're probably the key aspects that I think get overlooked quite a bit, either by candidates or organizations, because it's not a normal dialogue within sort of a recruitment thing to go sort of, well, what is your purpose? Like, who are you and what are you bringing to the table? And so I think purpose and vision and then into plan is probably some of the key areas that I give people watching some time to really consider. And when you think about the recruitment process, you don't really do it often. So you don't spend a lot of time thinking about yourself, planning about yourself, talking about yourself. You just don't do it unless you're a narcissist, but that's a different sort of small percentage of the population. So taking that time to really understand you, what your journey has been, what you've gathered from that journey and the value that that gives you moving forward and where you want to be. What are the stepping stone roles that you're looking for to actually get to the role that you want to be at? And then what's the value you bring to that organization to help you get there? That I think a lot of the time people aren't very well. They're great at reading their CV. And I did this role from this time to this time and I was good at this. But we're talking things about that are intrinsic in you of why you've accomplished those things and taking that step back. So that would be an area that I would encourage people to spend a lot more time thinking about, strategizing, and then being able to articulate very quickly when someone says, right, who are you? Rather than just say, oh, okay, I've been working in this job for this time. You can come at a higher level and go, this is me. And then when we're talking about standing out in a cluttered marketplace as a candidate, all of a sudden you rise to the top of the pack in terms of consideration where they're just going, wow, like, who is this person?
Yep.
We need to find out more. So that is not only great career advice, I think, but it's a great differentiation advice to stand out when you're going through recruitment, because a lot of the times candidates going through those channels can become disillusioned. You're getting a lot of rejection. You're getting a lot of, oh, you were close, but we've gone with someone else. Those things can keep you fueled because you're talking about your compass, your center, and what you are about. And that will keep you more on the rails rather than sort of bouncing around the disappointment that comes in recruitment, which is a fact of life. It is a quality numbers game, but that's sort of where I would get people to focus.
And it brings it down to authenticity, right? I think these businesses are looking for authentic people. They want to get to know you, your values, you as a person, what drives you, all of that. So if you can, showcase that in an interview and be as authentic, I think that's pretty much going to get you one step ahead of the others who are telling them